Welcome back. We have a scoped problem, the customer's voice, and 3 numbers to hit. Now comes the phase that separates real improvement from wishful thinking, measure. And measure starts with a confession most organizations never make. Nobody actually knows how their own process works. They know the diagram on the wall. They've never followed a single file from the front door to the finish line with a stopwatch. Today, that's exactly what we do. We go find the 18-day ghost. And I promise you, it is not hiding where everyone thinks. A principle first, because it will save you months. The process on the wall, the neat flowchart in the quality manual, is a map. And the map is not the territory. The real process has detours the map never drew. The file that waits 3 days for a signature because someone's on leave. The email that sits unread. The rework loop nobody documents. If you improve the map, you improve a fiction. So the rule in measure is brutal and simple. Go to where the work happens, watch one real case end to end and time it. Not what should happen, what does. Before Nadia times a single step, 2 pieces of groundwork, and both matter more than they look. First, the unit. The promise is 5 days, but 5 business days, not 5 calendar days, and that difference is a weekend and a public holiday. So she opens the business days calculator, sets the bank's working week, and pins it down. 5 working days from a Monday doesn't land on Friday. It lands the following week, and the 18 calendar days a file really takes come to about 13 working days against a 5-day bar. Now everyone measures in the same unit. Second, the walk is a team sport. The granting flow already carries its 5 steps: intake, credit review, risk sign-off, approval, sanction. Nadia assigns each one to the person who owns it, so the observations come from the stations themselves, not a guess from a desk. A unit and an owner on every step. Now the process is ready to be walked. Here is the idea that will crack this whole case open. In any process, time splits into 2 kinds. Value-added time. The minutes someone is actually doing the work the customer would pay for, reading the financials, judging the risk, signing the decision, and everything else, waiting, in a queue, for a signature, for a reply, for Tuesday's committee. In most broken processes, the shocking truth is that value-added time is a tiny sliver, often under 5%, and the other 95% is a file sitting on a desk, doing nothing, aging. Speed doesn't come from working faster. It comes from killing the wait. Now the detective work. Live. Nadia opens shadowing and starts a real session, walking one actual facility application through the process, stage by stage, recording what she sees. Intake. Minutes of real work, then 2 days in a queue. Credit review. A few hours of genuine analysis, then the file waits for the risk team. Risk sign-off. The actual judgment takes under an hour. But the file sat 4 days waiting for it. Approval, a signature, gated to a weekly meeting. Each observation is stamped and stored, and watch the roll-up at the top. Total elapsed. Over 14,000 minutes, 10 working days. Observed, hands-on work, under 300. A few hours of actual doing, buried in weeks of waiting. That gap between elapsed and observed is the number that makes the room go quiet. One shadow is a story. The platform turns it into the map's truth. Back in the value stream map, Nadia records the times she just observed onto each step. Intake, the reviews, the sign-off, the approval, so every stage now carries its real duration, measured, not guessed. The map finally matches the territory, and the split is damning. Minutes of work per stage, days of waiting between them. Then the baseline. She opens the run chart and enters the lead times of the last dozen corporate facilities. Real cases in business days from application to decision. Watch the chart draw itself, point after point landing far above the 5-day promise line. 18 on average, some past 30, none inside target. This isn't an anecdote anymore, it's a distribution, a process that misses its promise not occasionally, but as a rule. That flat line of broken promises is the before every improvement will be judged against. Step back and look at what 1 day of watching just revealed. 18 days, end to end, and inside it, by the stopwatch, not the org chart. The real work took hours. Everything else was waiting, in queues, for signatures, for a committee that meets once a week. The ghost isn't slow work, it's stalled work, which means the popular fixes, hire more analysts, make credit risk work faster, would spend money speeding up the 5% that was never the problem. The evidence just quietly disqualified the loudest theories in the building. Now we find out exactly why the waiting happens. So the 18-day ghost has a face at last, and it isn't laziness or incompetence. It's cues and handoffs, the dead time between the moments of real work. That single insight reframes everything the team will do next. Because if the problem is waiting, then the solution isn't more effort. It's better flow. Next episode, we take this to the data. The whole portfolio of facilities exported and interrogated in the data playground, where the days go by stage at scale to turn one shadowed case into proof no executive can wave away. See you there.